You see them everywhere, right? On literally everything you buy. But have you ever really stopped to think about those simple black and white lines? Well, they hold a surprising amount of power. Today, we're going to scan the hidden authority behind the humble barcode.
So what if I told you that simple barcode had the force of law? It sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it? But behind those lines is this fascinating story of private rules and very, very real public power. Yeah, that barcode on your groceries, it's not just about the price, it's part of a system with some serious, legally binding muscle. Okay, so let's talk about the code in your cart. We see them everywhere. Every single day, you scan them at the checkout, on packages that show up at your door, but we almost never stop and ask the big question. Who's actually writing the rules for these things?
Well, here's the first curveball for you. It's not the government, not at all. The global standards for every barcode you see come from a private, nonprofit organization. Kind of wild, right?
So let's pull back the curtain and meet the rule maker. It's a global group called GS1. That stands for Global Standards 1. And when I say their influence is staggering, I mean it. They are literally everywhere commerce happens.
And this is where things get really interesting. You've got GS1 over here, a private nonprofit group, and then you have a major government agency like the FDA over there. So the big puzzle is, how on earth can a private group's rules become absolutely critical for following federal law? That's the core question we're going to unpack.
Okay, so this is where the story gets really good. This is when standards become law. In some really critical industries, GS1's private standards have basically been, well, deputized by federal agencies. They've gone from being just a good idea, a business best practice, to a full-on regulatory requirement.
Just look at these U.S. laws. We're not talking about small stuff here. This is the FDA's rule for tracking medical devices. You know, like a hip replacement. The act that secures our entire prescription drug supply chain, and the big new rules for food safety. Now here's the clever part. The laws often don't say you must use GS1. Instead, they describe a system so specific that, in reality, only GS1 standards can make it work.
This example with the Drug Supply Chain Security Act, it just lays it out perfectly. Here's how a standard becomes a mandate. Step 1, Congress sees a problem, right? They need to trace prescription drugs to stop fakes. Step 2, they pass a law that demands an electronic, interoperable system. Step 3, the FDA, instead of building something new from scratch, basically just points to GS1 and says, that's the gold standard, use that. And boom, Step 4, a private standard becomes the only real way to follow the law.
So what does that mean? It means if you're a pharma company, not using GS1 isn't just a bad business move. No, it's a violation of federal compliance pathways. You're actually failing to comply with federal law.
But wait, there's more. GS1's power isn't just about direct government rules. Nope. It also comes from something else, the retailer requirement.
Yeah, in the huge world of consumer goods, GS1's power comes from what some people call a contractual force of law. It sounds fancy, but it's actually pretty simple.
Think about it. You've got a great new product. You want to sell it at Walmart or on Amazon or in Kroger. Well, guess what? To even get in the door, you have to sign their vendor agreement. And in that agreement, they all require one thing, GS1 barcodes. No GS1 barcode, no shelf space. It is literally that simple.
And this whole thing even loops back around to the government. Take the Food Safety Modernization Act, specifically Rule 204. The FDA came out with these super complex new rules for tracing food. And what did the industry do? They basically all got together and said, okay, the only sane way to do this is to use GS1 standards. So again, it becomes the default for compliance.
All right, so let's zoom out and put all of these pieces together. We've got private rules and public power all mixed up. What does that actually look like?
Here's the big idea, the term you should remember from all this. GS1 exists in a space you could call regulatory adjacent. It's not part of the government, but its standards are so tangled up with regulations that they basically function as if they were. They're a key piece of the whole compliance puzzle.
And this chart really shows you GS1's role across different industries. Look at healthcare. The FDA actually accredits them. For pharma and food, they're the main tool for complying with the law, period. And for general retail, they're just the standard everyone agrees on. In every single one of these, GS1 is like the invisible backbone holding the whole system together.
So why does this matter so much? Because the stakes are sky high. If a product in one of these industries can't be traced properly using these standards, the FDA can call it misbranded or adulterated. And trust me, those are words you do not want to hear. They come with massive legal and financial penalties.
And all of this leaves us with a really big question to chew on. In a world with these insanely complex global supply chains where something you buy might cross 10 different borders, who is best equipped to write the rules? Is it the government, or is it a global private group like GS1? It's a question that really makes you think about the future of how our world is run.